Hi folks, John from Designed Elegance here. Welcome back to our channel. So tonight we're going to make some apple cheesecake. So let's get started. First up, I've got 1.5 pounds of cream cheese in the bowl ready to go. Now I'm going to take, what's this? This is 3/4 of a cup, basically 1/4 of a cup for every 1/2 pound of cream cheese. For every block of cream cheese, you want to use 1/4 of a cup. So I'm using 3/4 of a cup. 3/4 of a cup of sugar right here, granulated sugar. Pop it right in there. And now we're going to put it on the mixer with the paddle. Do a little mixy-mixy. We're going to basically just mix the chunks out. Start slow so you don't get a puff of sugar. Okay, once the cream cheese starts to break down, you can then add just a little quick shot of vanilla. There you go. And then I like to add just a quick shot of nutmeg. Okay, now I'm going to get down there and get what's on the bottom, bring it up, and get what's on the top, put it down. See, basically all the sugar and the nutmeg is in the bottom right now. So we want to bring that up, get this all down, get those chunks down in there. And here we go. Alright. As that's going, I'm going to crack an egg. Pop it in. Now we use 3 blocks of cream cheese, right? So that means we need 2 more eggs. 1, 2, 3. Get my next one ready. I want that egg to mix in before I add my next one, so that's why I'm kicking up the speed a little bit. It's all smoothed out. Add my next one, get the next one ready, last one rather. Okay, so there's all 3 eggs ready to go in. Now before I splash this one up, I want to go ahead and make sure I scrape again. It's very important that you scrape a lot along the way. Okay. Mixy. Starting to smooth out. Now we'll get that last one in there. Alright. While that goes a little bit, we are going to chop some apple. Okay. Basically, we want little pieces of apple like this. How we get it is we peel an apple. Okay, I did one already. Here's the second apple. We got 2 apples going in this cheesecake. I already peeled the whole thing. Now I'm quartering it. Alright. Cut the core out. You don't have to be totally neat about it, but you want all of it out. Alright, there's one. Just get them all done here. Basically that inner shell that holds the seeds is what you want to get out of there. Okay, now I'm going to take my pieces and I'm going to cut them. Slice them 4 ways, like this. Okay. Line it back up here, best you can. And then cut this way. That's how I get my little cubes. It's very important that your pieces all be the same size. And we're not using slices, we're using cubes. It's very important that you use cubes. If you use slices, you're going to have faults in your cheesecake, and it's not going to be good. So we want little cubes. Alright. Almost done here. Alright, last one. 3. Alright, there we go. Oops.
Escapey.
Okay, now I'm going to add a splash of cinnamon. Give it a little shaky shake. Ooh, that smells good, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Alright. Maybe just a touch more. Can't go wrong with too much cinnamon. Alright, so we'll put that off to the side. Now, we want to take just a little bit of a sprinkle of granulated sugar. Maybe, I don't know, what's that, 2 tablespoons or so? Okay, we're not looking to make applesauce here. We just want to coat the apples nice with the granulated sugar. Okay. Now, let's give this guy a scrape again. And see where it's at. Oh, that's nice. Very nice. Looking pretty darn good. Now, one thing that I like to do with my cheesecake, my little added ingredient, is just a touch of heavy whipping cream. Okay? It's not even something I'm going to measure. I'm just going to give a little splash. Just like that. Mix that in. And we are going to call this good. You know what? I didn't add any salt. We need to add salt. Oh my gosh. Hang on.
Oops.
Salt is one of those things that I rarely use. Excuse me. Salt is one of those things that I rarely use because most of what I bake with is starting with butter, which is salted butter. So, because I have no salted butter going in my mix, I'm just going to take a little bit of this salt here. Maybe a half teaspoon, if that. I don't know if that's a smidge, or is it a scotch? Is it a scotch or a smidge? Or a pinch?
Smidge.
I don't know, but it's just a little. You don't want to add too much, but you do want to add some because it enhances the flavor of everything else. Okay, so we're going to mix that right in. Lovely. Okay. So, we got our batter. Here, let me go ahead and clean this guy off.
And the audience at home knows you wash your hands about 9 gazillion
Oh,
times
good
a day.
Lord. Are you kidding me? It's ridiculous.
Not to mention when this goes in the oven, it's going to...
Yeah.
Not a worry.
All right. So there's that. Now... Okay, so now for our baking of the batter, one key factor that you want to keep in mind, okay, when you're baking any kind of cake, but especially cheesecake, you definitely want to line your pan, okay? Now this is just a simple piece of parchment paper, and I'm just going to basically trace my pan. Okay, now I do this with all the cakes that I bake, but especially a cheesecake.
If it's a cheesecake, it'll stick.
Yeah.
Really, really bad.
Well, basically what it is cheesecake is so delicate, and you know, basically you can't afford to have part of it stick to the pan because then it could just collapse the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, that being said, just set that off to the side, save it for a rainy day. Okay. We we got our pan spray. Now I want to spray the heck out of this pan, but I'm not doing the bottom. Not doing the bottom. I'm only doing the side and in about 2 inches. Well, 1 inch.
Okay.
There you go. My paper right in. Beautiful. You want to make sure that it's all pressed in there nice. Okay, now, I didn't have any graham cracker crumbs. And when I make cheesecake, I don't really use graham cracker crumbs because I'm a master pastry chef. And what I like to do is bake fresh snickerdoodle cookies and grind those up. Yeah, no graham cracker crumbs. We use snickerdoodles. All right, so these are, I baked off a little while ago. I baked off about a dozen small snickerdoodles, and I put them in my food processor. I chopped them up. Okay, very nice. Okay, you can't even tell that they look like graham cracker crumbs, I got to tell you, but you got the cinnamon, you got the sugar, you got everything in there that's yummy. Okay, so that's why I like to use this. All right, so now I'm just going to put a bunch in, and I'm trying to be careful not to get crumbs all over the side of the pan. Okay, going to push it down. See how I'm pushing it out to the edge? There we go.
And you didn't need to use any butter to make that so you could press it. It's like
no, that's why I'm using the snickerdoodles, because the snickerdoodles are so high in the butter content already that you don't have to. See what I mean?
Shortcut.
It's like, well, it's not that it's a shortcut. It's just, it's all there. So, why not? So, anyway.
Not to mention it tastes delicious.
Well, yeah, exactly. Now you're getting it. All right, so add a little bit more in. Okay, because I want a nice little layer here. All right. And I'm not being totally, ridiculous to make sure everything's all pressed nice. I mean, you want it to be pressed somewhat, but I'm not being totally crazy about it. Okay, so now we got our crust. What I want to do is, instead of just adding these in, dumping them in, and mixing it all up, I could do that, but I think it would be much better to put some cheesecake in first so that we can, get some layers going here. All right, now this is just the way I roll. Got to be careful. Okay, I just pulled some of the crumbs up. So you got to be careful about that. So that means don't mess with it anymore. Okay? Leave it be from this point forward. All right, so now we're going to take some of our apples, drop them on. Okay, if a few are on the crust, that's okay. Doesn't matter. Okay, now I'm just going ahead and start with, some apples on the bottom because some of the apples are going to sink to the bottom anyway. Okay? So we're just giving them a little head start. Now we're going to add a bunch of batter. Okay, now I'm going to add the rest of these apples. And then we'll finish with the rest of the... Actually, I'm going to... Here, move some of these around a little bit. Yeah, it's just a good idea,
Well, I'm a fan of apple. I don't think we'd want a chunk,
Well, basically, you want the cheese to go around the apple, encapsulate it, so to speak, so that it's all suspended,
Yeah, you want to cuddle, right?
Somewhat, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay. And that's pretty much all the batter right there. All right, now I'm just going to give it a little extra swirl in. If a few of these apple chunks end up on top, that's going to be fine with me. See?
Not going to hurt my feelings.
No, that's okay.
Right.
I don't want too many around the side of the pan, though, because they will have a tendency to burn. Yeah, so let's grab some of this batter and set it right over here. All right. Okay, so now this guy is ready for the oven. Okay. You want it to look a little home style like that.
Sure.
Okay, so basically now to bake this, instead of turning my oven way down, like, turning it down to 200 degrees and then using a water bath and baking for 45 minutes and then turning the oven off and blah, blah, blah. Okay, I don't do that. I just bake at my normal temperature, which is, 200 or 345 degrees. And what I do is I put a water bath in the pan or in the oven along with the cake. Okay, so that being said, we're going to turn on the oven. We're going to get that sucker rolling up to about, 295 is what the temperature gauge is set at. But in a convection oven, add another 50 degrees because of the wind current, and you're looking at about 345 degrees, which is your typical baking temperature. Okay, so with the water bath, it's going to add steam in. Okay, so it's going to lower the temperature of the oven anyway, as it adds steam in for the baking of the cheese. All right, so that's what we're going to do. Give us a few minutes,